Yes, you read it right. This is a Bitype Hardcore Nuzlocke of White 2, which means instead of the regular single types in Monotype challenges, you get access to Pokemon from two types. The other thing you might be thinking is, how am I going to play with fairy types in a pre-Gen 6 game? And the answer is simple. With the introduction of fairy types in Pokemon X and Y, many old Pokemon got a fairy typing. So I will be using these types of Pokemon. You might think that two types will make it a lot easier, but hear me out. Some of the typings are very sparse or you don't even get access to them until like much later in the game. And one of the typing which falls under both the categories is Dragon typing. In this run, we will only get access to 5 Dragon types and only 3 viable Fairy types. The starting of the Nuzlocke might be tough since Azzumarill needs to solo the whole of early game, but with huge power it won't be that difficult. And did I mention that I'm playing on challenge mode? I pick Snivy as my starter since it won't really matter which starter who gets. After learning to throw balls at innocent creatures, I witness Alder still trying to comprehend the limitless possibilities of humans. Even after 2 years, this man has the exact burning passion. I truly believe that he will find the path to salvation. The first encounter for this challenge will be Azzuril from Flockesy Ranch. Aquarel has a bold nature and the ability Thick Fat. A reset without any second thought. This run will not be possible without a huge power Azzumarill, as it should solo the first 3 gyms. After like 5 resets, I get a huge power Azzuril who has a relaxed nature. I of course name her Aquarel. Also try guessing the nickname theme for this challenge within the end of this video. The naming theme is actually quite genius, and if you want to know what the theme is, then stick around till the end of the video. After catching Aquarel, I make sure to run around the town for a good while, since walking or running increases the happiness of the Pokemon in your party and Azzuril evolves with friendship. I even make sure to evolve her within level 10, since at level 10 Marill learns both Defense Skull and Rollout. At Flockesy Ranch, Hugh challenges us to a battle with Hydreigon, who is too short with Rollout. I think I should have given him a different starter. Well, too late for that. After the battle, we need to find the lost herdier of the man who owns this ranch, and after rescuing the dog from a Team Plasma Grunt, he runs away on the tall grass without any wild encounters. Same for the owner and Hugh. The wild Pokemon just straight up ignore these guys. Wait, there are no wild encounters in this grass. Are you kidding me? Wait, huh? The first gym battle is against Chirin, who leads with his Patrat while I lead with the only Pokemon I have. Patrat starts off with a tackle, which barely does any damage while Aquarel sets up a defense curl. Next turn, Patrat sets up a work up while I use Rollout for a quarter of damage, and somehow Tackle does less damage after a work up. The next Rollout takes out Patrat. Rollout is a move with 30 base power, but its base power doubles every turn, and by using a defense curl prior to using a Rollout, its base power starts off with 60 instead of the normal 30. And by the 5th turn, its base power can increase up to 960. So yeah, his Speedo might need some serious medications. After the battle, Chirin gives us the basic badge and the TM for workup. And after leaving the gym, Bianca awards me with the TM for return, which is really OP. Aquarel evolves into an Azzumarill, after which I battle Roxy for the second gym badge. I had not intended to edge Aquarel for this battle, but the trainer battles made her really close to leveling up. The first turn, Coughing uses a Venoshock for a bit of damage, while Aquarel sets up a workup. After another bit of damage with Venoshock, Aquarel uses a defense card and the next turn starts rolling out. Coughing takes the initial rollout and uses another Venoshock. It looked like a speed tie till now, as the next turn Coughing moves first and does a bit more chip to Aquarel. She levels up and Roxy sends out Grimer, who is merely a stepping stone for the rollout to build more power for Roxy's ace Whirlipede. Aquarel shrugs off a Venoshock and Rollout destroys her, after which its Poison Point ability poisons Aquarel, but a Held Pechaberry cures it. Kinda pointless, not gonna lie. Whirlipede could have easily broken the Rollout with a Protect, after which it would have been a matter of dodging a crit for the win. But I am glad Roxy did not use Protect, and I get a relatively safe second gym badge. After a cringe alert, I board the ship to Castelia City and fight a tag battle with Hugh in the sewers. It's good that we're bonding with our rival, but he really needs some sense of location. Next I catch a Petlil, which is not our encounter, but it will make sense later. And the next fight is against Berg, the Bug-type gym leader. He leads with his Dwebble while I send the star of this video, Aquarel. The first turn starts off amazingly with Feint Attack doing like 10 hit points of damage and me misclicking double edge instead of defense curl. No worries though, as Leftovers recovers the recoil. After another bit of chip with feint attack, I click the correct button, Defense Curl, and Leftovers recovers a bit more HP. The next turn is hella obvious as Aquarel starts rolling out after tanking another weak feint attack. His Dwebble survives with 1 HP without Sturdy, and his Citrus Berry recovers 25% of his health. This is good for us since Bug will not heal now, which won't activate Sturdy. The next turn, Dwebble uses a Struggle Bug, and while Rollout unfortunately misses, so does the next one. This isn't that bad though, as any damage that Struggle Bug causes is healed with Leftovers. The third rollout connects and finishes the job. Now this is important. I had intentionally edged Aquarel to the level cap, since now she can survive a crit from Livani at level 27. And considering that Reserleaf has a high crit ratio, it's much more likely for a Reserleaf to get a crit. But Livani somehow lands a 55% Grass Whistle, while I failed to land two 90% accurate rollouts. I thought this run is over now because even if Aquarel gets a 1-turn wake up, she can't tank 2 Reserleafs. Besides, rollout needs 2 turns to kill Livani anyway. But for some bizarre reason, Livani uses Struggle Bug and Aquarel wakes up on the first turn of sleep for a rollout, which activates his Citrus Berry to bring him above half, and Leftovers recovers a bit of health. Now everything depends on this single turn. A Reserleaf crit can take down Aquarel, and a miss would also mean the end. Against all odds, Aquarel manages to dodge the crit and land the rollout for the kill. His next Pokemon was Shelmet, who did have Giga Drain, but it along with his another Pokemon Carablast get decimated by ridiculously strong rollouts, earning me the Insect Back and a TM for Struggle Bug. Before the arrival of new encounters, both me and Aquarel need to pass one final barrier, one final fight to test our bond, which is versus Colress, who has a Magnemite and a Clink. I was very afraid of this battle for some reason, but I really overestimated Colress as even though he had parallelized Aquarel, sparks from Magnemite weren't really doing any damage. If it wasn't for the Leftovers, then the Sandstorm chip could have been a big problem. And finally, after obtaining 3 gym badges with a single Azzumarill, we get our second encounter in the form of a trade with this boy for a Cottonee, who gets the Fairy typing in Gen 6. With sheer manipulation and dark magic, I gave him his new name, Whimsicott. This guy has a modest nature and the ability Prankster along with a perfect 31 IV in special attack. We also get access to a third encounter and the first dragon type encounter of the run, Trapinch, who I named Flygon. The next gym battle was supposed to be against Elsa, but the footage for that whole battle was just this. But thankfully, that battle was easy with Flygon sweeping through Elsa. Heartbreaker Charles ends up being a pushover and I reach the city with the best music in the franchise. And yeah, Flygon won't be evolving until he reaches level 55. Why you might ask? Because Game Freak thought it would be a good idea for Trapinch and only Trapinch to learn the move Earthquake. In Generation 5, Vibrava and Flygon don't learn Earthquake, so evaluate Trapinch for the win. As a matter of fact, Trapinch and Flygon both have the same attack stat of 100, while Vibrava has an attack stat of 70. After a bit of Team Plasma drama, I go to Driftveil City to challenge Clay, but Flygon kinda overleveled before the battle, but I don't think it will matter as much. Clay leads with his Krokorok who intimidates Whimsicott and the first turn Giga Drain gets a clean one shot. Whimsicott levels up and Clay sends out his Onix. Whimsicott first turn uses Thief to not activate his Sturdy as this thing has Explosion, which can be triggered if the Mon is low on HP. Onix sets up a Rock Polish and this guy mocks me for using Thief and doing such little damage. Clearly he doesn't know my genius plan. After tanking a Rock Slide, one Giga Drain gets the kill and Clay shuts his mouth. Sandslash 2 is a clean one hit with a Giga Drain and last comes his ace Excadrill. Whimsicott first uses a Cotton Spore to lower his speed by 2 stages, while he uses Bulldoze to lower his Scots by 1. Next turn, a Stun Spore seriously cripples Excadrill's speed while he is still using Bulldozers. Next turn, I switch to Aquarel on a Bulldoze, lowering her speed, but she can still outspeed due to the paralysis and one Aquatail gets the kill. The Cotton Spore was not necessary here, but if Aquatail would have missed, the next turn Excadrill would have outspeed her and the crit would have killed Aquarel at the current HP. After the battle, I earned the respect of Clay and he takes both me and Hugh to the PWT, but all the trainers there have level 25 Pokemon, while I for some reason can use my mons at their respective levels, so it's kinda easy. Also, I'm thinking of making videos on beating the whole of PWT and maybe even the battle subway. What do you guys think? After getting thrown off a ship because they got pissed for being so bad, Shirin calls me to the Weather Institute where he gifts me the HM for Surf. After carefully going to Charstone Cave, I finally reach Mr. Alton City and challenge Skyla for my 6th gym badge. She leads with a Zubat, lame, while I lead with his Scott. Might not be the brightest of ideas, but I need to lower this thing's speed as she has coverage against my whole team. Zubat just wastes time going for stupid moves, and I switch to Aquarel on a lucky paralysis and finish the bat with an Aqua Tail. And the next Pokemon Skyla sends is Sigilif. This thing can't do much damage, so I just stay in, and after dodging a Hypnosis, an Aqua Tail does 3 quarters. After a bit of leftovers, Aquarel tanks the Psychic fairly well and finishes Sigilif with a return to ensure accuracy. Skyla next sends Skarmory, where I just stay in and they both trade hits until Skarmory falls. At one point I managed to get off a Work Up, so I was pretty confident for the Swanna since she has Aerial Ace and Swanna doesn't have a great attack stack, while Aquarel is a semi-tank. I was wrong and Swanna ends up using Air Slash, which leaves Aquarel at the red and gets the flinch. Swanna has Aerial Ace in normal mode and not challenge mode, gotta keep that in mind. Next turn I switch to Flygon on an Air Slash, which does 2 quarters, who now baits out Surf, and which I switch to his Scott. I first use a Stun Spore so all of my team can outspeed Swanna, while she again uses a questionable move choice. Due to this I am able to set up a lead seat and Air Slash hits his Scott hard, while Citrus Berry brings his Scott above half. Giga Drain barely won't kill from here, so I have to stall out a few more turns. I switch to Flygon, who can tank a non-crit Air Slash, and luckily he does. But now Swanna will go for a random move, since Flygon dies from both of them. All I can hope is she picks Surf. Well, there goes my speed control. Rest in peace, his Scott. And now Aquarel gets a free switch and hopefully Return can kill from here. It was not even close and Swanna heals and restores a bit of her health with a Citrus Berry. Time for the next attempt, I guess. Well, at least the RNG evens out. If it weren't for the flinch, then Swanna would have been a one-shot from Return, as Aquarel was at +1. But I am glad it was just a single death rather than a full reset. With the ability to use Surf, I make way towards Mr. Alton Cave, where resides my next encounter. But the moment I arrived there, the cave seemed angry and hired a sniper to keep an eye at me. Because of that, I hastily get an Axew, throw a dust ball at it and get the hell out of there. I named the Axew Horus, who has a lonely nature, which is not bad. After a bit of training, she evolves into Fracture, and after flying to Lentimus Town, I go to Route 14, where I can catch my next encounter, an Altaria, who I name Altair. Hugh's team is a joke and he is swept by Altair alone. Hey, what's here? Okay, you do you, bye. Next is the first Zinzolin fight, who specializes in ice types. Perfect for my team of dragons and one little rabbit. This fight was easy because Hugh had an Ember, which happens to be a fire and fighting type, and ice types hit both of them. But surprisingly, it wasn't ice types that caused the problem. It was this damn Garbodor. Aquarel was frozen, so I switched to Horus, who took a critical hit Sludge, which also poisoned her, and she survived barely. If that dummy had used Sludge Bomb, Horus would have been dead. Finally, Opalipsid City. Huh? What the heck? Opalipsid City in White and White 2 has a rustic feel to it, which is amazing in its own way. Here, I can challenge Druddigon for the 7th gym badge, where I thought the level cap was 48, at which Horus evolves into a beautiful Haxorus. But I am glad I checked it, as level 48 is the cap for normal mode. The actual level cap is 52. Druddigon starts the battle with his Druddigon while I lead with Horus, who instantly starts vaporizing Druddigon's team with Dragon Claws. Not a single mod survived the onslaught of Horus. Some speed EVs ensured that she will outspeed Druddigon's Haxorus, so this badge really was free. After which Team Plasma decides that it's time for Ice Age and launches ice cannons on Opalipsid City. And you know what is better than an Ice Age? A battle with Zinzolin himself. But Aquarel resisted all the ice moves and destroyed Zinzolin. After the whole Shadow Triad stuff, I go through the beautiful marine tube to reach Humulao City, where resides the 8th gym leader Marlon. But before that, Flygon levels up to level 55 and finally learns the move Earthquake, so I can evolve her into a Vibrava. Time to challenge the final gym leader Marlon. The only danger in this fight is to dodge a 30% Scald Burn, but come on, do you really think that the 30% burn will occur in the exact time? Marlon starts off with his Wailord, who has Ice Beam, so I lead with Aquarel. The The first turn he sets up Rain Dance, while Aquarel does big damage with return. The next turn I use the Ice Punch to waste Marlon's potions and use one more return to bring him down again. Now, this is the time to dodge the burn. I switch to Horus and Wailord uses a Scald, which gets a crit. And the burn! I switch to Aquarel on an Ice Beam and after tanking an Earthquake, kill it with another return. Next he sends his ace, who will use an Energy Ball into Aquarel. So I switch to Altair, who quad resists the attack. Now I use Dragon Pulse to gauge the damage and it does almost nothing, while Shadow Ball does decent damage. Next turn, Altair uses a Dragon Breath for 30% paralysis, but it gets disabled due to the cursed body instead. You know what is worse? His Shadow Ball gets a special defense drop. In desperation, I switch to Aquarel as she can tank a non-crit Shadow Ball, but Jellicent uses a recover instead. So I can again switch in Altair for free on an Energy Ball and try my luck again with Dragon Breath. Shadow Ball also does not get the drop and the next turn Altair uses a Roost to regain back health while his Shadow Ball gets another drop. He is getting a 20% drop chance while I can't get a 30% paralysis. This goes back and forth for a long amount of time where I am mostly getting bad luck with cursed body activation and special defense drops. And finally, after 6 Dragon Breaths, the damn thing gets paralyzed while Shadow Ball gets a third drop. Altair uses a Dragon Pulse for some chip while Shadow Ball does big damage. Next turn, anticipating another recover, I switch to Aquarel, who tanks the Shadow Ball and Jellicent gets another special defense drop. Since Aquarel is really low on health, he will choose a random move. Altair comes on a Scald and thankfully it doesn't burn or get a crit. Next, Altair roosts to regain back his health while this damn thing finally gets paralyzed. Next, Altair uses a Dragon Pulse to bring Jellicent really low while Citrus Berry heals Jellicent, and he uses a recover. I try to PP stall Jellicent's recover by using Dragon Breath, but it instantly gets disabled and Jellicent starts using Scald as Shadow Ball is out of power points. Stalling isn't an option here as I will only risk a burn, so I start chipping away at Jellicent with Dragon Pulses. It seems that luck finally came on our side as the disable ends and Jellicent stays paralyzed for 2 turns straight, and one last Dragon Breath takes him out. But the final blow also disables Dragon Breath again. This single 1v1 took almost 10 minutes and the battle isn't even over yet. Next comes his Mantine who packs Ice Beam, but none of my Pokemon can take even a single hit except Altair, who really needs to pull through right now. Altair uses a Roost to take away his Flying Type and stalls turns until Dragon Breath is available again. And Mantine uses a Confuse Ray. The situation just got even worse. Next turn, Ice Beam brings Altair really low while the disable has not gone yet. I get lucky again and Altair dodges the confusion and successfully uses Roost to take away his Flying Type and survive the Ice Beam. And this turn the disable finally wears off. I next use a Dragon Breath which does not paralyze as Altair tanks the Ice Beam at red. Altair next uses a Roost to regain a health, which helps him tank the Ice Beam. Now, the run depends on the single Dragon Breath, but I believe in Altair and he uses a Dragon Breath, which gets the paralysis, and Altair heroically sacrifices his life for a better future. Aquarel next comes and outspeeds to kill Mantine with a Silk Scarf boosted return. Next comes Marlon's last Pokemon, Caracosta. This mon has 30, so he is guaranteed to live on 1 HP, which is a problem as none of my Pokemon can live another hit. I hope for a freeze and use Ice Punch, and Aquarel refuses to die and freezes the tortoise. But he of course used Scald, a move which stops the user from freeze. There was nothing I could do here. The AI had randomly chosen the move since Aquarel was so low. With half my team turned to dust, Flygon steps in and uses one last Earthquake to finish this hellhole of a battle. I did not even deserve to win this fight whatsoever. The burn risk on Horus was simply stupid. And before you tell me that I could have used a Raspberry, Horus needed a Ghost Gem in order to kill Jellicent with a +1 Shadow Claw. With most of my team gone, it's time to get super serious. So I evolve my Flygon into a mighty Flygon and catch my second to last Pokemon, maybe, Clefairy. I name her Clarabelle, who has a rash nature and the ability Cute Charm, rather than the much more useful ability Magic Guard. Now it's time to infiltrate Team Plasma's Frigate. After beating some Shadow Triads, I go to the place where Getsis intends to start his evil plans. As I go to stop him, Getsis commands Kyurem to kill me with a Glaciate. But since we are the main character, N comes at the last second to protect us. What if I was actually killed in this scene? Would I have become N? Who knows? After the long cutscene is over, I realize that I'm against the uber white Kyurem, who has beastly stats. But those stats are not enough since Horus just one-taps that thing with a dragon claw. Getsis, who is enraged due to his dumb plans not succeeding, comes at me with his team of 6. He leads with his Cofagrigus and Horus comes and uses a Dragon Dance turn 1. Cofagrigus used Toxic but it gets cured by a Pechaberry. And the next turn a Shadow Claw gets a crit and kills the mummy. Crit did not matter. Hydreigon also shares the same fate and goes down to one single Dragon Claw. So does all his other Pokemon, while Drapion being the only one who goes down to a dig as he is quite bulky. And I kid you not, Horus got 4 crits in this single battle and all of which did not matter at all. Getsis then realizes that not only did his dumb plans fail, but he also lost to a kid. Twice. Due to this, his mental disorder kicks in and Getsis goes crazy. Feeling happy that I defeated an old man with mental illness, I go through a cool batch scan and reach the Elite 4. In Victory Road, I get access to either Druddigon or Zweilious. And of course, I first get Druddigon. Druddigon here has a docile nature and the ability Rough Skin. But I really wanted to use a Hydreigon, as believe it or not, I have never ever used a Hydreigon due to its absurd evolution level. And since we only have 4 Pokemon left, I decided to catch a Zweilious. Hydreigon also has a docile nature, and after a bit of training, I fight Hugh for one last time before the league. He leads with Unpheasant while I lead with Horus, who uses Dragon Dance at the first turn, while Unpheasant uses U-turn and switches into Buffalat, who is a one-hit with Dragon Claw. So is his next Pokemon Simipour. For his Ember, I feared that Horus would overlevel and not be able to use in the league. I had no choice but to get Horus and Flygon up to the level cap, as there were many mandatory battles before I could catch Druddigon and Zweilious. Since Ember is a fighting type and Flygon is at the edge of level 62, there was only one Pokemon I could use, who was Dungeon. Brick Break hits Dungeon fairly hard and Ember takes a bit of chip with Rough Skin and Rocky Helmet. If Brick Break crits next turn, Dungeon will die, but so will Clarabelle and Hydreigon. And of course, Ember gets a crit and knocks out Dungeon in his debut battle, where he could not even use a single move. Next, I switch to Clarabelle, who will barely survive the crit. I set up 2 Cosmic Powers, after which Thought Power leaves him at like 5 HP. After a long run of Moonlights and Cosmic Powers, Thought Power finally knocks out the Ember, and Unpheasant gets 2 shot with Thought Power. I really thought that Druddigon was more bulky. And did I mention that he has max PDVs? Oops, let me fix that. This is my final team before the White 2 Elite 4. First up is Marshall, who starts off his throw while I send Horus. The first turn, Horus sets up a Dragon Dance, while throw negates the speed boost with a Bulldoze. The neutral speed is more than enough to outspeed the whole of Marshall's team, but at +1 attack, throw isn't a one hit, so Horus uses Dragon Dance again, while Bulldoze again makes the speed neutral. Both Throw and Mianshaw fall to a single Dragon Claw, and Marshall sends his ace Conkeldurr, who goes down to a Flying Gem boosted aerially. Lucario and his Sock both die to a dig, and Sock's Sturdy doesn't activate because Horus has the ability Mold Breaker. The next Elite 4 is Chantal, who seems to like living without any light. Anyhow, she leads with her Cofagrigus while I send Clarabelle, who on the first turn does some chip with Ice Beam, and so does Cofagrigus with Psychic. The same moves are used again, and next turn I switch to Hydreigon on a Psychic, and my thinking was that she would use Grass Knot, but she ends up using a Will-O-Wisp, so Clarabelle just comes and does more chip after a bit of recovery. She then uses Encore to lock Cofagrigus into Psychic. Next turn I switch to Horus as Cofagrigus does some damage with Psychic. After a Dragon Dance, Horus starts sweeping through Chantal's team with Shadow Claws. Horus can outspeed the Choice Scarf Chandelure with a Dragon Dance, and she was holding a Rocheberry for a potential Flame Body proc. I had also given Hydreigon an experience share so he can level up to level 64, and after Chantal is defeated, I finally get myself a Hydreigon. Third on the list is Caitlyn, who leads with her Musharna while I lead with a newly evolved Hydreigon. The first turn he sets up Work Up while she just uses a Charge Beam and gets the special attack boost. Now it's all set up. Hydreigon can cleanly sweep through her team with Dark Pulse except Metagross, who goes down to Earth Power, as Steel types resist Dark types before Gen 6. I had also given Hydreigon a Chesto Berry in case Musharna uses and lands a Hypno. And the last Elite-4 is Grimsley, who had given me some major trouble on my previous run through Unova using flying types. So this time I will enjoy sweeping him. He leads with his Liepard while I lead with Clarabelle. The first turn, Clarabelle uses Protect to deny Liepard the Unburden boost from normal gem, and on the next turn Clarabelle does some chip with Ice Beam. After a few turns of stalling, Liepard is encored into using Night Slash. Next, Horus comes and sets up one Dragon Dance, while Night Slash does respectable damage. Next turn, Dragon Claw kills the Liepard and he sends his Crocodile, whose Intimidate lowers Horus' attack. I had forgotten to take Intimidate into account, and later realized that I had also forgotten to give Horus an Expert Belt. Horus can't kill her, so I switch to Flygon and Crocodile uses a Dragon Claw, which I had no idea this thing has in its moveset. You know what is even more unfortunate? It crits and one-shots Flygon. Next, I send Clarabelle, who takes a massive hit from Earthquake and uses a Ice Beam which does not even kill. Now, there was only one idea in my mind. I use Protect for some recovery, and next turn try to lock Crocodile into Earthquake with Encore. But of course she gets a second crit. Hydreigon comes in and kills the Crocodile with a Dragon Pulse and the rest of his team with Dragon Pulse. I got lucky when Hydreigon landed a crit on Absol, as the normal hit would have been a roll. An Excisor crit could have also killed Hydreigon. But now, for the second time, half of my team is wiped. Why is Grimsley the one who always causes trouble to me? You might think the champion fight will be pretty difficult, but it's really not. I don't even need to set up to win this fight, it's that easy. Iris leads with her Hydreigon while I send Horus, who instantly kills her with a Dragon Claw. The same fate is reserved for Druddigon as well. Next, Iris will send out her Lapras, where Horus needs to do damage and die. But I go for a Rock Slide hoping that a flinch could save Horus. The Rock Slide leaves the Lapras as red and Blizzard one-shots Horus. This was not meant to happen though. Rock Slide can never do that much damage. But because Lapras goes to the red, Iris healed her and Dragon Pulse doesn't even do half. Next, I try for a lucky flinch with Dark Pulse, but it ends up doing more damage than Dragon Pulse and Lapras lands a Sing. Confused and hoping to get an early sleep, I desperately click Dragon Pulse as Lapras lands both the Blizzards and kills Hydreigon, ending my run. Now, this was really stupid, as I redid the battle but this time with Horus using Dragon Pulse to not bring her to the red, and my plan goes accordingly and I cleanly sweep her team. And if you are wondering, Hydreigon had a Haban Berry to reduce damage from Haxorus' Outrage. When the battle is over, I remember an important thing. Challenge mode only increases the levels and not the actual stats. This theory was proven by a bigger and better nuzlocker, FlygonHG. A battle which was guaranteed to win, lost because of some dumb glitch. If I had remembered this thing even a little bit earlier, I could have easily won the challenge by just not even using Rock Slide. In hindsight, the Rock Slide play was really stupid, as if I had missed then the result would have been the exact same. Now, this is the second Unova challenge that I have failed in the champion fight. Quite an interesting streak by me. Hopefully, I can break it by the next Unova challenge I play. And for those who want to know the naming theme or guessed it correctly, it is the actual name of the Pokemon but adjusted with the autocorrect feature. And if you have made it till here, consider subscribing as it really helps and motivates me to keep making these videos. And I have learned a very valuable lesson today. Always double check your strategies.